finished, like, I watched this documentary on YouTube about the Opium King, or the Lord of the Golden Triangle. It's about a drug dealer. Can't remember exactly where, but it is in Asia. If you haven't heard about this man or his story, I'm about to just spoil it for you. Usually drug kingpins go out only, like, there's only two ways drug kingpins go out. They usually go out, one of the two common ways being sought after by the feds or the enemies they incurred during their rise to building their empires. Number one, of course, being death. Number two, being put through the judicial system and locked away for double digits. This story about Khun, that's his name, is interesting because drug distributors don't get to retire. As I said previously, they either die a very gruesome death, or they end up going to jail. Drug dealers or drug distributors don't get to retire. And most, if not all of them, like I said, beget violent dictatorships. But this Khun guy, he thought less like a criminal and more tactical, more smart. It's like way, like, his story is like not even popular. Like his story is so different from a regular, drug person who goes, from a life of crime to graduating to rags to riches from selling narcotics. What sets him apart is that, like, he was most wanted, like he was on the most wanted list with America, and he never got caught. He never actually really got caught. He was on America's or I don't know if it's America's most wanted list or the FBI's most wanted list. One of those. He was on their list, and he was expecting, and they did this thing like how they did with Pablo Escobar's story, where America was expecting, like, the home country to do something about the problem with, I can't remember the name. I gotta find the name of the actual place where he was, where he's from in Asia. Let me see here, just real quick, because he was most wanted, and he never actually got caught. Okay. There we go. He's from Burma. There we go. Burmese. He's a Burmese drug lord. Okay. So America was expecting Burma. What is it? Mongyai, Myanmar, Burma, to do something about him, because he basically is the reason why heroin is so frequented around this time. This is like 60s. It's like 60s, 70s, around that time. He's basically the reason why heroin is so rampant in North America and in Europe and all these places. It's because of him. So America is expecting Burma to do something about this guy, and basically he was sought after. He never got caught. He laid low and was basically able to retire. He was basically able to retire and basically died of natural causes and was of old age. If you have never like been, if you're somebody who's like interested in like actual, like, because like I said, his I wish I could pull up a picture so y'all could see what he looks like. But I don't have any. I don't know if I could do it. Let me see here. But like, yeah, like I said, his story is pretty interesting because drug dealers don't retire. That's what blew me. There we go. Let me bring this up here real quick. Drug dealers don't get to like retire. That's his picture right there. That's khun. They don't get to retire or die of old age, or if they are dying of old age, they're dying of old age behind bars. So he was actually able to die a free man, and he did get out of the heroin drug trade, but by that time, heroin was already, you know what I'm saying, pretty overly popular as a drug around like what is that, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and of course the 90s, like yeah, the 90s. So around that time when he stopped, is when, you know, it was still pretty sought after as the drug of choice for people. But I thought that was just an interesting story to just bring up because, like I said, drug lords. We know the story. We know the story. We know the same old story. They either go to jail or they die. Violent death. I just thought that was interesting to start with because I was watching it yesterday. I was watching the documentary yesterday. And by the way, there are different documentaries about this man, but it's not. But his story isn't popular. I don't know why it's not popular because once you start to like go into stories about what is it called? Once you start to like dig into stories about like the war in Vietnam, his name kind of, or not even his name, but the drug of, the drug of heroin was getting soldiers addicted around that time. So you can kind of point to this guy as that reason why. So, but yeah, I thought his story was pretty interesting.